Hey gamers, it's Kwing here, time for another exclusive Got Game review. This time we bring you LEGO Indiana Jones 2, The Adventures Continue for the Nintendo Wii, a sequel to the 2008 hit LEGO Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures. Although Traveler's Tales has abandoned the traditional LEGO formula for something drastically different, but is it a good idea or bad idea? The story for the game follows a humorous take on the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, as well as the other three past movies. Sadly, this is where the game begins to take a nosedive to oblivion. The concept for the game has changed a lot since Indy's last adventure. Players still need to advance through the levels, collecting studs, destroying stuff, and driving vehicles. However, everything else has seemed to be turned on its head. New to the series is the hub worlds as opposed to the big college stage. Now each hub world is based after a chapter of the Crystal Skull, or the original adventures. The game still offers the parody humor you've come to expect from the series, although this time the game's changed the formula quite a bit. Most of the levels are as follows. Indy goes to an adventure stage, a brawling action stage, a vehicle stage, another adventure stage, and a larger-than-life boss fight. Unlike the last game, LEGO Indiana Jones 2 focuses more on using Indy's whip to solve most of the puzzles in this game. After a while, this whip mechanic will grate on one's nerves though. Indy can also tie up characters and toss them over his shoulder too. Another new addition to LEGO Indiana Jones 2 is finally players can create their own LEGO stage. What makes this unique is players can make new Indy adventures, campaigns, characters, and even do quick play to replay the levels you like. Still, this just isn't enough for this to be a great game. Now the core gameplay hasn't really changed that much, so anybody will be able to pick this game up and start playing right away, which has always been the charm of the LEGO series anyway. Wii owners can also use both gestured controls and buttons too. Indy's whip can be guided by holding in the B button and aiming with the Wiimote, and that basically does it for the gameplay. Okay, folks, LEGO Indy 2 has a lot of bad stuff going for it, and it's nothing like the first game. First and foremost, this game has no way of sharing your user-created maps with other players around the world. The game has no free play mode either, where players could replay any stage they wanted to and use different characters to unlock hidden stuff, get true adventurer status, and most of all, add to the replay value of this game. Instead, Traveler's Tales opted to remove this feature, and if you didn't get all the studs the first time through, gamers can replay that world and only collect studs. You don't fight enemies, all you do is collect studs. That gets really boring. Also, this mode only allows for 2 characters at a time, so no more swapping through characters in free play. Instead of buying characters like in the past LEGO games, gamers need to unlock them by finding them in the many different hub worlds. Speaking of the hub worlds, they are just a bad joke. Yes, they're big and offer more playtime, but they are confusing and poorly designed, and most of all, boring. Not to mention the bonus games that are included in these hub worlds look like really bad LEGO games. For the LEGO standard, anyway. LEGO Indy had really cool moves in the last game, which, honestly, my wife and I used the whip to attack people a lot and perform Indy's signature moves LEGOized. It was awesome! This was one of the charms of the last game, but guess what? It's been removed. Another removal is Indy's ability to pick up enemy weapons in the Crystal Skull chapters, yet here's the rub, folks. In the hub worlds and the old movies, you still can. Each end chapter has a larger-than-life boss fight too. These ants combine to form the most powerful robot ever assembled, Antron. I know, bad joke. But it gets better, folks. In order to be more creative, the team decided to do a hack-up job of the classic Indy films, so people would be forced to play through the weakest Indy movie ever, The Crystal Skull. The older movies don't really take that much effort to beat either, like less than 30 minutes each, whereas the Crystal Skull levels are much longer. Another issue with this game is it doesn't really make use of the different characters' abilities like the last game. Actually, you don't really need any of the other characters but Indy, Mutt, and Marion, and that guy with the skull to beat the whole game. That's sad. Still, the final nail in the coffin for this game is the vehicle levels. Now, in LEGO Batman, I thought Traveler's Tales had finally ironed out the wrinkles for the vehicle stages. But guess what? The developers threw that idea out the window. Genius! The end result is Indiana bumper cars. You heard me right, folks. The goal is to smash the other cars in order to win, which can take up to 20 minutes for each chapter. And guess what? Each chapter has a long, tedious, boring vehicle stage. Awesome. The controls are downright hideous and it's not fun to play at all. What makes these levels aggravating is the fact that the studs don't follow you after running them over in your vehicle. So the game demands that you go back to pick them up. So this is going to make the gamer trying to get true adventurer status next to impossible and a huge pain in the butt. Listen, I know it's hard to believe, but I actually found some fun with this game. The combat in LEGO Indiana Jones 2 feels more like an Indiana Jones game than the last one. Don't get me wrong, I miss Indy's cool whip from the first game, but I kind of like the combat in this one better. Even so, a lot of Staff of Kings gameplay is in LEGO Indy 2. Indiana can whip bottles and chairs to toss at enemies, just like he does in the movies. He fights just like Harrison Ford, dirty, and now players can cycle through 2 set abilities for each character. Awesome. On the brawler levels, players get to see how great the combat actually is. For starters, characters actually now really sword fight, so it's actually your job to block and do so much more in order to knock the sword out of your opponent's hand, which is just so much fun. I enjoyed the brawling stages for the past Indy's movies significantly. They were just great fun. Creating stages and characters was also fun, but it was kind of complex for creating stages, so we didn't really mess around with that feature. But I've heard good things about it, so I'm not really going to diss it. Quick Play is a little different than the last LEGO game's free play feature, but it does allow you to replay any level you want, without having to navigate the bad hub worlds or collecting stud crap. The graphics look okay for a Wii game, and John Williams' score sounds excellent as always. The humor in this game is as funny as always, and I kinda liked it. However, I can't look past all the bad stuff, and we didn't like this game at all. Actually, my wife hated this game so much that she would not play it, and here's a quote for her. This game felt more like work than fun. In fact, I had more fun playing Turtles Reshelled than this game. The boss battles are annoying and they're just too complex. The vehicle stages are poorly made, and playing this game zaps all the fun out of the LEGO games, which that's what they're supposed to be, fun. This game is not fun. I would rather be sewing. I do agree with her, folks, except for the sewing aspect. I'm shocked that developers would change the gameplay this much. All they needed was a little tweak here and there instead of a complete overhaul of the series. Now, we applaud them for changing the LEGO formula and trying to keep people interested. They succeeded in doing a fresh idea, but they also succeeded in making a bad game that doesn't work. This game does offer a lot more features than in past LEGO games, and the amount of levels is staggering, and there's so much to do in this game. And that's the only good thing. Ergo, GotGame.com gives LEGO Indiana Jones 2: The Adventures Continue a 5.5 out of 10. Here's hoping the next LEGO game is actually fun. It's okay to add new gameplay mechanics and give fresh ideas to video games, but when you strip away the old presentation and replace it with a clumsy, boring hub world, remove the free play feature and stuff that made us fall in love with the LEGO series to begin with, then you've jumped ship. Parents should also consider buying the original LEGO Indy game now for just $20. Now that's a good game, folks. Okay, that's going to wrap up another Got Game video review. From all of us, have a safe and Merry Christmas. This is K-Wing as always saying God bless and happy gaming. Until we meet again, gamers. Whoa!